Hello, beloved community. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm so happy to be here today with you, with the exquisitely powerful and divine Trisha Croft. I do love your last name, by the way. So let's
Oh,
learn
thank
a little
you.
bit about Trisha. Trisha is an international clairvoyant, medium, naturopathic physician, tantric shamanic witch, and high priestess who dedicates her life to the goddess. She takes spiritual goddess gypsy tours to the Holy Land of Egypt, Peru, Hawaii, and other exotic lands, teaches goddess and tantra retreats around the world, offers readings, mentoring, and online trainings at the Mystery School Academy. You can read lots more about Trisha, but let's dive in with the sister. Welcome, beloved.
Beautiful. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, so glad you could be here with us, knowing especially it's evening where you are and daytime where I am. So
Mm,
we are going to dive into some important stuff today. We are talking about divine feminine leadership, and there are some essential ingredients not to be missed a lot. I'm personally very passionate about shadow work, and I know you focus and have expertise in sexual shadow work. So what is sexual shadow work?
yeah. Well, let's go into shadow work first before we dive
Okay.
into sexuality. Well, you know, we see this in the spiritual field at the moment. A lot of bypassing or people sort of getting that quick fix with spirituality or enlightenment. Um, and there is no quick fix. There is no quick bypassing. There is nothing. And when you really dive deep into this work, and especially into the feminine work, the
Mhm.
goddess container, we cannot dip our toes in the shallow end. We start to dive deeper into the mysteries. Once we start to dive deeper into the mysteries, we start to dive deeper into self, which means that what is it? Carl Jung said that 75% of our um, subconscious or our shadowy parts of ourselves is the golden parts, or the most powerful parts of ourselves. Once we start to tap into those depths of ourselves, or the embodiment of self, and we start to understand ourselves, and then we start to really rise. Spirituality isn't about enlightenment. For a woman, the most empowering part is the embodiment part, or going into the void, as we all know. Most of us already have heard about shadow work by now. It's quite big at the moment in spirituality. Um, but you can't bypass the void. You cannot go past going into that inner world without knowing thyself. Yeah.
Well, there's so much that you're saying that is valuable. You know, you talk about dipping your toes in and getting a quick fix. I don't even know what a quick fix is, but what is a quick fix?
Quick fix would be something that masks over something,
Oh yeah,
something
I know
deep,
what
or a
you're talking
trauma,
about.
or something
Right.
that we've been holding on to, and it masks over for maybe a day or something. Oh, I feel really good, but it keeps coming back up. The problem keeps coming back up. It's like, when you hear, oh, I thought I got rid of this, but it just keeps coming back. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? We haven't
I
quite
understand
gotten
what you're talking
into
about.
the
Yeah.
depth. Yeah.
It's
And
like the
that's the thing.
affirmations even. So much of, I mean, I love affirmations, but it's like to slap an affirmation without doing the work is like, right? That's how I see it. It's like, oh, I felt a feeling. Oh, let me put an affirmation.
Yeah.
No, right? Go into the feeling. So that's like one of the ways that I see it. But I know what you're talking
But
about.
affirmations are beautiful, but we've got to
Yeah.
remember, wait, this is one of the powerful things I'm looking at the moment, is bringing, and it's such an old way of spirituality, is bringing wholeness to everything. So looking at your affirmations as spell work, yeah, it's when we say something, it has so much power, but also to the thought behind it as well, the intention. the power of intention, the manifestation of it all as well. Instead of just speaking it, it's the whole lot. It becomes then magic. Yeah.
This is true.
This is so much. Yeah.
So here's what I'm feeling into. It's like when I think about the shadow, there are people that have a certain makeup, they have a unique coding, and they hear shadow work, and they say, and they're at a certain part of the journey, and they say, yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll go there. I'll do that. And there's other people that'll hear shadow work, and they're like, no, no, no. Yeah. So what is, like, how would you invite someone that maybe is a little bit more, cautious?
Yeah.
And what would you say to them?
Well, the thing is, you can't make someone dive deep. You can't make them dive.
No.
If they're not ready for the work, they're not ready. And it doesn't mean that there's any hierarchy at all. Not at all. It's just their soul will be ready for the void. And the void will take you as deep as you want to go.
Yeah.
Remember, it's endless. It's
Yeah.
endless. And when we feel comfortable sitting in that darkness of nothingness and everything, that's when that is the most powerful part of the feminine, of this darkness. And it's not dark evil.
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
But this darkness, I'm talking not about evil or anything. It's we think of the baby in the womb, or we come from darkness. We come from the creatress, the creation. That void. We all come from the void. Yeah, and it's coming back into that part of us.
So I'm
Coming
curious
back into
how you would make the distinction between sort of the void and this cosmic womb and this place, and then sort of the Carl Jung addressing of the shadow as the unconscious. How do you make the distinction? Because it almost sounds like we're talking about
they're
them.
both the same. They're both the same.
Okay.
We're talking about spiritual, mental, coming from a spiritual angle, a mental angle, but they're all woven. They're from the same part.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we're looking at it as a more holistic view, because Carl Jung, I mean, he has profound work, but there is a lot of masculine energy coming through with his work and teachings, of course. But we want to look at this in a holistic way. We always want to, when we're looking at healing, when we're looking at healing modalities. So when we're looking at for women, when we're looking at sexual shadows, let's go back to that question you asked me. Yeah, is when we're looking at sexual shadows. Well, when we start to really dive deep into the mysteries of the feminine, and we start to go back into embodiment, coming back to somatic, soma practices, coming back to the nervous system, coming back to the endocrine, coming back to all the physicality, the pains, the emotions. When we start as a woman, we start to feel the body again, guess what? We start to feel we are pleasure centers. We are sensual goddesses. We come from this space. We start to dive into more. When we look into the physicality embodiment, we start to look at somatic practices, or the nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, and looking at the traumas, underlying subconscious, everything. We start to play. And also too, when we start to embody the feminine, of course, I talked about the pleasure center. The most potent part of the feminine is the womb. And so we're coming back into the womb, or the creation, the void, and we're coming back into also the yoni, the pleasure, the birth. We're coming back to that. And coming back to the nature or the purity of it. And to get to that, we need to go through, and we can't bypass it. We have to go through all the shadows as well to get into that that center of ourselves, the center of the goddess within. If that makes sense, yeah. There's
Yeah,
so much. I could speak all day about it, but
yeah,
and we want to go into these parts. We want to heal sexually, that we know, and we look at today right now, and me in my field at the moment, and I spoke about this today, and it's been coming up a lot lately about sexual shadows and so much trauma around sexuality for women.
yeah,
Every sister has a story, every single one of us, and we may share the same stories as well. But if these wounds aren't and traumas aren't healed, we're going to carry them, and we're not going to switch on our full potential and our potential of pleasure, our potential of Eros, and allowing the vitality and the sexual energy to come through our bodies, allowing the goddess to be an energy that just flows so naturally, because she's not going to stay long in a container that is not purified, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that there's tainted and there's pure, but we need to start, if we really want to hold that container and do the goddess work or do the priestess work, do this work or hold that container, we need to cleanse it. We need to clean it out. We need to clear it out, shift the shit, get rid of all this stuff that stands in the way, and allow, I mean, so many sisters are rising right now. Our Shaktis are turned on so high right now. There's so many women around the world that are like, why am I so turned on right now? And what the hell is going on? Like, there's so much movement coming through, and right now on a collective consciousness of the feminine right now is that we are clearing. We're doing our shadow work now. We're doing the healing, and most of it, if we have a look at this, most of it is the war against the feminine and masculine. It is now bringing the balance between, or let's not say balance, because it's not a universal law. There will never be a balance, but a harmonious flow between the male and females. And what the sexual traumas and the sexual shadows, what we're doing is we're actually getting rid of man-hating, getting rid of the wounds of the patriarchal. And this is what's happening on a collective consciousness right now. And we're all doing the work.
Amazing what you're saying, because I've been doing this, similar work in that body for a long time. So sometimes I just don't hear certain things. And the other day I actually heard someone in one of my groups say, I hate men. And we were doing some what we call making whole practices with the masculine. And she was having big releases, and she was confessing that she hates men. And I haven't been around that for a long time, just because of the level that we've been playing. We kind of just come in, clear it out, and go. So when you say that, I'm like, oh my God. And then this piece around, I've been aware of this for a very long time, but it just keeps, being right in my face around how the sexual shadow is our biggest shadow. It is just our biggest freaking shadow. And it shows up, I was talking to this woman who was telling me about her 10-year-old daughter getting advances that she didn't like, and how she didn't want to hurt the boy's feelings, so she didn't set a boundary for herself.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. So when we're talking about doing the shadow work for a sister who's tuning into this, and maybe she's been on a path for a long time and she loves the goddess and all of these things, but you're talking about embodiment, and that I want to know if you can address kind of the discomfort from the place where when one is not embodied and cannot feel and doesn't have access to those lower centers, that from there to embodied Shakti's flowing, alive, Can you speak a little bit to that journey so people can self-identify?
Yeah, of course. Look, and it's a lifetime practice.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime practice because guess what? The shadows run deep, and it's not just us right now and our story in this lifetime. It's stories from sisters and our ancestors and the burning of the witches and the priestesses, and it goes way back. It goes way back. We're carrying in our DNA all these fragment pieces. So when you're diving into shadow work, when you're diving into this, you know, you're still going to, even women, even myself, there'll be always something that will come up, like you, when you've already done the work, but another sister came in with the story and that you haven't been around for a long time. It's sort of like, well, it's around, it's still around. It's going to be around for quite a long time. And so I would say the first shadow work or initiation that will come up for a sister will be shame and guilt.
Yeah. Yes.
It will always be shame and guilt
Okay.
because we as sisters have been shamed. And I say sisters, and I'm so love our men. Oh my God, I love our men. I love our men. And I'm all for the men too, but right now this is about the sisters. But our sisters have been shamed sexually. You know, it's such a taboo subject, or we see so much around this at the moment. So it's when you start to work on sexuality, that's the first thing that's going to come up, and guilt around the guilty pleasures of feeling into your body again. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this so good. Well, yes, you should. Yes, and yes, you can. You know, so you'll dive into these parts, and this work, this level of work and going in takes so much compassion and grace for yourself, to take it easy, to be so kind to yourself on this journey, and to be so kind to another sister's journey as well, because guess what, your story is exactly the same as the other sister. It's just such a mirror. Yeah, we all share the same journey. So being, very compassionate for yourself when you're diving deep into this work. It needs to come through. This shame and guilt needs to come up a lot. It needs to come up and
it needs to
throw it away.
It needs
And
to,
like you said, bring it up, and you know, face it on, and you'll always see in the subconscious, it always comes from childhood. It'll be always, you know, and we know this, the first time we masturbate is in the womb, you know, and it's not until, like, it's such a natural thing for us, our sexuality, it's not until we're faced with our parents see us touching ourselves, or where, you know, society, there's we're so shamed into our pleasures and our embodiment and women, and you know, that we need to first we need our sisters in this. We need sisters for women that want to go into this work deeply. First, you need your sisters, you need support. You need sisters around you that inspire you, that you can feel safe to go into this work as well. Yeah. While you move through it.
oh, sorry, there's a little delay between us on the recording, but that's why I think the containers and the mentorship and the sisterhood is so essential, because when you're talking about going into the shadows, it's like, whoosh, it can be extra daunting and easy to forget the self-compassion and trust the unfoldment if you're not held and witnessed by someone who knows how to do that. And just the shame and the guilt, and there is so much potency when we allow it to come up, so it can be transmuted. It's like, it's so good when it finally comes up. And I think if you've ever been in a room, for those of you that are tuning in, if you've ever been in a room where someone's transmuting shame, the whole energy of the room shifts when someone finally dares to go there. It's like, oh, now we're playing a very different game. Now we're playing the real game. Like,
Yeah.
thank God we're here, you know? So I do feel with you that that is really important. And
Yeah.
regardless of where someone is at their journey, if they're wanting to bring in more Eros into their life, you know, what would you say to them?
Yeah. If they're wanting to bring more Eros into their life, the thing is they need to first of all tackle these parts
Mhm.
and not to dwell into it, but to acknowledge them, that all parts, like I said about wholeness, is bringing, we need to bring wholeness back in and loving each part of every, because Eros isn't just all sensuality too. It can be hideous emotions coming up, but allowing it to be so vulnerable,
The open.
yet um, so exposed and so raw, and allowing the tears rolling down your face, that can be Eros as well. It's bringing true life force through the body and allowing all emotions, allowing your true nature to shine through. That is Eros. That is, and to be seen, to be seen in who you are, in your true state.
What's in the way, you think, for most sisters to be seen?
We want to be seen so badly,
Mhm.
but yet the shadow doesn't want to, because we don't want to take up space. There's so much shame around to be seen for who we truly, truly are. And that is that sexual power
Mhm.
of the feminine, that wild Shakti, that raw Shakti.
Mhm.
And then there's a lot of wounds around that too. If I'm seen, then there could be complications.
Right, right. Gosh, it's like I'm tracking this around to be seen and then to be seen enjoying being seen and the shame that goes with that. Like, how dare
Yeah,
you enjoy being seen?
yeah,
Where that's the programming of the feminine, is to just be the light and,
be the
you
light.
know, express the light and radiate and enjoy. And then the complications that can come with that, because so many are uninitiated.
Yeah.
So what is, how would you speak to that around okay, so I'm experiencing, an individual is experiencing this liberation. Oh my gosh, it's flowing. Oh my gosh, I'm ecstatic. And then what kind of container do I need to provide for myself that's this balance between being seen and being in my freedom and containing myself so that I am responsible with the energy, because there are a lot of uninitiated individuals around.
Yeah, but then as well too, if you're bringing through that pure Shakti essence, if you're really bringing that Eros and life force through that body, um, there's a point where she will throw that veil away. She will throw that, um, cast that shadow away to be seen. She wants to be seen, but she also wants to be seen by self. She doesn't want to be, she wants to be felt by self. She wants to be let out of her cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you saying self? Is that what you're saying?
Self, yeah. Of self. She wants to come out. And look, the thing is, with this work, there's a lot coming up at the moment for women to go through the healings, because every woman is a sexual goddess.
Yeah.
Every single woman is. And I don't care how old you are. I have girlfriends that are in their 70s that are sexual goddesses. They do not sit at home knitting. Hell no, they are little cougars. And this is the beautiful thing, is this is where we're heading in our this is where the sisters are rising. We're setting a new standard we're moving, we're going back to the matriarchal. And we all have heard of this, but this is what we're actually doing. We're bringing the ancient now into the modern again. We're bringing all these energies in without the shame now, because the matriarchal went through that patriarchal stage where she was shamed, she was guilted, she was a sexuality. And now we're moving out of it, and the veil of that is moving through. And we are the pioneers right now. All our sisters right now on earth are the pioneers for this, moving into this part. So going back, yeah.
Equality. Would you say it's
What
matriarchy or equality? What are you holding?
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean more like where the females were more had more of a main role
Yeah.
in society. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
leadership,
where they were honored,
the influence.
where their voices
Yeah.
were worshipped, and I don't mean they ruled and
Yeah.
that type of thing, but I mean they were honored in such a divine way.
Yeah.
And then stripped of their mantles. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
stripped of their mantles. We see this in ancient times in priestess temples when the Joshua and Mary Magdalene went through that. I couldn't imagine what Mary Magdalene went through in that era, because that was patriarchal times, and she was a sexual priestess when she was holding that container. We look at these women of the ages who went through this at the fall of the matriarchal. Now we're moving into that veil. We're moving into that same similar times where the veil of Mary Magdalene was coming over. Now we're actually coming out where the veil is coming off, if that makes sense. So we've gone through this dip in evolution.
I was getting emotional as you were speaking about that. So can you speak a little bit into, what, how do I want to say this? It's kind of like, okay, so there's a lot of women who look to Mary Magdalene for what she held and what she embodied. And then there are a lot of sisters alive today who walk with these sexual priestess codes. How would you speak to that? Like what's possible? What is the potential for healing that's brought forward through that embodiment?
Yeah, beautiful. That's a beautiful question. Look, we need to look at too with Mary Magdalene is she went through the same thing. She was human just like us. She went through the same similar thing. She had to go through her pains of initiations of being human as well. And holding so much grace and compassion in this container. So much. Yeah. So for me, let me tune in. Yeah, I think for sisters to journey on this path is to come back to wholeness again and love every part of who you are, the ugly, the beautiful, every single part, the raped, the victimized, the innocence that was taken away, every little taboo, or the body shaming, the everything is to come back and to bring love and compassion back into every parts of those pieces. That is just a story and a program.
Yeah,
it's just a matrix. If I don't know if those that are listening believe in that, but it's a programming that distorts the feminine,
yes,
distorts this channel to come through.
and there is then so much healing that's available when one is in the embodiment of that sexual priestess. Yeah. Do you identify as a sexual priestess?
Definitely. I work with the goddess Isis and teach women in the priestesses of Isis and Mary Magdalene,
Mhm.
as with many of the goddesses. And of course, definitely, you can't do you can't be a priestess or a channel of this if you're not working sexual energy,
Mhm. Yeah.
because the Shakti is sexual energy.
Mhm. Yeah.
She is. She is the Kundalini. We look at Kundalini energy.
Yeah.
And when I say sexual, some may think, ooh, but let's bring it back. When we go back to nature, when we go back to pure Mother Earth and pure creatress energy, the purity in that is creatress energy. And this is the energy I'm talking about that comes through our body. That's the Eros.
Yeah.
That's the energy that we want to move through our bodies.
Yes.
Yeah, always and forever. And if it's not stirring through and
Mhm.
there's something stopping that, then keep it moving, keep it shifting. Yeah, we know this, and I know you know this. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to say, I mean, let everybody hear it from as many places
Yeah.
as possible,
Yeah.
whichever one lands, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Priestess has been my primary guide also for over 20 years. And yeah, for sure. I hear you and just really want to affirm the power and the potential for personal and collective healing that lives in this process for everyone who's tuning in, to take it on for personal freedom and personal liberation and personal aliveness and personal power, and also the collective advancement that it offers us.
Yeah.
Um,
We
yeah,
want to, honestly, and I want to give some gold here, but we want to bring that Shakti energy. We want to bring the goddess energy back into the womb space again. We want to bring it in. We
yeah,
want to bring it into our hearts again. We want to bring it into the womb again.
mhm, yeah,
Yeah, we want to bring the energy back in. It's
mhm,
our birthright. And whatever stories that were ever told, is to let's retrain ourselves back into coming back into just source and not believing into those things.
yeah. I appreciate you. Thank you. Well,
Uh,
that's such a good segue with you saying we want to go back in because you have a free gift for our community, and I think it will help to do that, right?
yeah, definitely, definitely. So that one will be about the womb, and we want to be able to, if we want to start with creating, we need to clear the womb. So it's a lot of magic there for the sisters, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is, you're gonna be able to grab Trisha's gift right here, yeah? It's a Priestess of Isis, womb and yoni clearing, yeah?
Mhm.
We're gonna put that for you here, and yeah, I remember the first time that a teacher, well, it's a long story, but it was a part of the arc where I no longer could feel my womb after having a lot of, living the Shakti for years. And so, it was so easy to find her again. So I want to say that to anyone who may feel like, I can't find it, or I can't feel it, or what is she talking about? That it's just right there. Like it's just right there. So please
And
know.
not, and sometimes, look, and it takes a little bit, because sometimes we're coming from the mind, and when I'm teaching my women, some of them you almost see them going, like you're almost like trying to feel, but it's not from here.
Yeah.
We as women, that's another shadow, of course. We got to get out of the mind and come back into she's there. It's just like this click. There'll be like this
Yeah.
a click within. It's like a little electricity that just goes pop.
Yeah.
And once you're electrified, you'll
Yeah.
you sparked.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. I didn't mean to say like it won't take any showing up or consistency, because for some it may be immediate, for some it might take a little bit longer, but that we're all coded to have the connection, because the connection is there. So to just stay the course, you know, for those of you that may not feel as connected in that way.
Yeah. And it also just quickly, like you said, it can be a transmission from another sister as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Her electricity or her Shakti can ignite another sister. It always actually does.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, the power.
Pop,
Yeah.
pop, pop. Yeah.
Yeah. I did reporting today about women's circles. So yeah, there you go. More power to us coming together. I appreciate you, Trisha. In some ways,
Wow.
time, but I think
Beautiful.
it's a good opening. Please follow Trisha. I know that, you know, she's a deep well of wisdom. So follow and stay connected. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Blessings.